just 2 minutes of your time to introduce a lady that was born in Rich Plain to Margaret Greenaway from Laloon, Maruga, and Mr. Winston Christopher from San Fernando. She is the last of their 5 children. She attended the Diego Martin Girls RC School and then went on to St. Francois College and left after completing her A-levels. Sounds good? She then went on to do her foundation levels in ACCA. She started teaching after completing O-levels and is still teaching at present, as most of you know. She has just completed a Bachelor of Education. The next speaker was first introduced to the political scene in 2007 as a youth speaker for the Diego Martin West constituency member of Parliament, Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley. After making that speech, the MP stated he had a new find. His new find he had. Till again, in 2010, she spoke on Dr. Rowley's platform. I think you know who I'm speaking about. Yes. She was the councillor for our district of Covigne Rich Plain from 2010 to 2013. She sits here as our current P&M candidate and our next councillor. Please, our hard-working, dare I say, the slave driver, Miss Energizer. Welcome on stage, Miss Katty Christopher.
Together as a nation, standing side by side. Still a long way to go, we gonna get there. Standing side by side. I see the places, where we all come from. I see the giant in the city.
Chairman of this evening's proceedings, and the best assistant anybody can ask for, Ms. Avril Phillip. Our youth speaker, Mr. Israel Lara, who fooled me this evening and tell me this was his maiden speech. You all believe that? Our welcome speaker, who appears like he's trying to take my job, Mr. Johan Christopher. Specially invited guests, burgesses of Covigne Rich Plain, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Proverbs 11:14 says, without wise leadership, a nation falls. I am here to ask you for your support come October 21st. I am here to tell you why I believe I am the best candidate for this district. But you all know, when I stand on a platform, I must start from the beginning. 2010, Christmas. Do you all remember the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago hosting Christmas parties for the children of Trinidad and Tobago? Yeah. Well, as councillor for the district, I was told by the chairman of the corporation to organize children from the district to be collected and sent to these parties. So, in December 2010, I did that. I organized children. On the day before the party, the children were supposed to receive, and ladies and gentlemen, quote who I'm talking about, the children. They were supposed to receive some bands for their wrists in order to be able to enter the party. Lo and behold, the district of Covigne Rich Plain received no bands. I called the chairman of the Diego Martin Regional Corporation requesting the bands. I was told that the bands were at the MP's office, our MP's office. Of course, there were no bands. I called the chairman again. He then directed me to another MP, one of the MPs that are out of this region. And of course, there were no bands. Other government councillors of the Diego Martin Regional Corporation had already received their bands, but we had no bands for the children of Covigne Rich Plain. I couldn't sleep that night because all I thought about was these children, what their faces would look like the next day when they didn't have their bands to go to this party. So the first thing next morning, I went to the corporation. The chairman was in the car park, and on seeing me coming, he walked away. Because they like to say, when you see Councillor Christopher come in, that is more bitterness than honey, so run. That's all right. I observed another councillor sitting in a vehicle, so I approached her, a government councillor. She gave me some foolish story about how she don't know, she not sure, and things like that. But I also observed that while she was speaking to me, she was hiding a box. So this councillor from the district of Covigne Rich Plain pushed her hand in the box and pulled out bands. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just say the children of this district went to that party that day. So tell them, Covigne Rich Plain, we demand service. What does Covigne Rich Plain demand, ladies and gentlemen? Service. Thank you. In coming into council, there was a certain garbage contractor. Every street in our district have hills. You all aware of that? Everyone. This garbage contractor refused to climb the hills. Now, I perused the contractor's his contract, and I realized he was obligated to climb the hills. That was part of his contract. I made numerous requests in council to get them to climb the hills. After a couple of weeks, no change. So I demanded, I want the contractor gone. Get him out of Covigne Rich Plain. I went to council with petitions from various communities asking for this contractor to be gone. Word got to the contractor that this councillor from Rich Plain trying to get him fired. He showed up at my home. He showed up at my home. Of course, I didn't come out. I didn't come out. But when it came back to me, the talk was, because the councillor is a member of the PNM and the contractor is a friend of the Prime Minister, I want him removed. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not care who this contractor is. He could be my brother. If you are not doing your job in the district of Covigne Rich Plain, get out. But let's just say now that all the hills are being serviced, not just for household garbage, but for white waste and tree cuttings. So tell them, ladies and gentlemen, Covigne Rich Plain demands service. What does Covigne Rich Plain demand? Service. In 2010, 2011, 2012, and now 2013, we have experienced not just flooding and landslides.